You know, I am a big fan of Spider-Man 2099. Always has been. I love Miguel O'Hara. But the one thing I do not like is when they treat him wrong. What I meant to say is that, well, let's take a look at what happens when you actually pay attention to a character that's done right in an astronomical way. Spider-Man Edge of Time. When Bionox and Activision gave birth to the Spider-Verse with the game Shattered Dimensions, they had enough money to make a sequel. One problem, not enough money to add the other spiders, so they thought, let's make a game that involves Amazing Spider-Man, Peter Parker, and Spider-Man 2099, Miguel O'Hara. They brought Josh Keaton, the voice of Spectacular Spider-Man, and Christopher David Barnes from the 90s animated series to voice Miguel. So, what's the gameplay like? The gameplay is pretty much similar to that of Shattered Dimensions, as you have several attacks and each Spider-Man feels like their own separate person. Peter using web attacks and Miguel using his talons. And of course, they actually made it clear on how different they are from each other. Peter has spider sense, Miguel has accelerated vision. Basically, Miguel can perceive things faster and move faster. Basically, think bullet time. Even though the gameplay seems pretty well, the level design, well, even though you go back and forth between 2099 and the present, it's pretty okay. I mean, I love the futuristic aspects, I love some of the details. It's just, well, some of the designs in the present seem a bit lackluster compared to that of 2099 with their futuristic cyberpunk designs. I don't know, maybe it's just me complaining and I love the futuristic world of 2099. But the one thing that made the game extremely stand out is the story. The story was written by 2099 creator Peter David, and who better to understand Miguel O'Hara than the actual creator of the character. And they bring us this very cinematic feel with each scene, even the opening. Okay, basically the plot is that a guy named Walter Sloan basically built a time machine, and he plans to invent Alchemax back in the 1970s. Of course, Miguel won't let that happen, but he was too late, and they made enough changes from the past and the future. And even the Statue of Liberty got a makeover through Temporal Complex. And of course, Peter Parker is now a head worker in the Alchemax Genetics Division and downloaded his blood into the system. But thanks to that, basically Miguel found a sample of Peter's blood and did something called a chronolink, where they can talk to each other. Now, I'm not going to go through the complication of quantum theory and temporal paradoxes here, but basically what this does give is amazing dialogue between the two.
Peter Parker.
Who's that? Who's talking?
Miguel O'Hara, the Spider-Man from 2099.
Are the other me's in my head too?
No, it's just me and you, old-timer. I threw together a chronolink program using a sample of your DNA. It's allowing me to communicate with you at the point in time it was taken. I just wish it was from earlier on. We have almost no time.
Time until what?
Until you're killed.
Until I'm what now? Because it kind of sounded like you said kill.
Listen, a lunatic named Walker Sloan from 2099 created a time gateway. It was a one-way trip that dumped him sometime in the 1970s. He then used his advanced knowledge to build Alchemax, years before it was supposed to be established, transforming your world and mine.
But I work for Alchemax. You're saying that's somehow wrong?
Completely. At this point in time, you earn a living taking news pictures for J. Jonah Jameson.
The late-night ranting TV news guy? Forget it.
You can't forget it.
Where does this so-called death happen?
Sloan's building another gateway on the 66th floor, so he can finally travel back and forth. I saw you being killed, right there.
By who?
I couldn't make it out. It doesn't matter. Get out of the building.
So a crazed killer can wander around the building without me to stop him? No way. Besides, if I find this guy somewhere else, then I'm invincible, because I can only die at the gateway, right?
It's not an exact science, Parker.
Meaning what?
You want to spend an hour getting a crash course on temporal physics? No? Then do what I say.
You've got a lot to learn about priorities, pal. I'm gonna do what I think is right, and that means going after bad guys. You want a Spider-Man who'll do whatever you want? Go play a video game.
Of course, one of the characters that's going to be facing you is Anti-Venom, basically Eddie Brock, but due to the power of Mr. Negative, basically he can control the symbiote, but not this time as he's mind controlled by Walter Sloan. And furthermore, let's talk about possibly one of the biggest points that make this game stand out and the reason why it stands out as one of the most important things in 2099 history. Basically, if you watch Across the Spider-Verse, play this game because of this scene. After saving Peter from a grim fate, Miguel heals him in 2099, but basically he has to fight Anti-Venom in the present.
You don't! Bring it on, you pasty-faced patsy!
Of course, basically the time machine is broken and they have to repair it from their both sides. And this means Peter has to go to the archives, which brings to this important scene.
That was weird. Okay, let's go over the startup procedures.
Slow down, Parker. It's not that simple.
Did you fire up the quark enhancers? Activate the tachyon relays?
Yes, I did all that. No, you just...
Uncouple the Heisenberg compensators.
Yes, of course I did. Oh, shuck it. No, I didn't.
I was right. Wow.
Oh, no. What's wrong?
It's Mary Jane. She dies. Tonight. Right there at Alchemax.
How do you know? For shock's sake, Parker, what part of Don't Poke Around in the Archives was unclear?
Fine, I'm a nosy Parker, but now that I found out,
It's what? My job to save her? I've got enough to deal with.
you can't mean that. You can't just ignore that she's in danger.
Hey, I'm trying to focus on what's important.
What's important is not standing by and allowing someone to suffer or die because you do nothing. If you don't get that, then you don't get the first thing about being Spider-Man.
You're the one who doesn't get it, Parker. The future depends on...
My future is meaningless without her.
This is gonna be a huge mistake.
I owe you, Miguel. Big time.
Shocking right you do. But, well, maybe this'll help even the score for everything the world owes you.
Thank you. I mean that.
Wow, that is heavy. Like, the mantra of Spider-Man means that if he's in an action, if he sees people in danger, he must do everything in his power to save people. No matter how important it is, he must save everyone. And this is the problem with Miguel before the whole Spider-Verse thing. He only sees the big picture. But the moment he actually rescued Mary Jane, he actually sees why Spider-Man needs to save these people. And that's when he finally deserves the title of Spider-Man in the eyes of his predecessor. This is the reason why Miles is right in Across the Spider-Verse. We're not trying to play God and save every police captain, we're just saving one person. One important person that you can save. And hell, even Peter Parker said,
There's your problem right there. You can't think about saving the whole world. You have to think about saving one person, Miles. You just think about someone you love.
is it risky? Oh hell yeah. But the one important thing is to don't be God when it comes to the Spider-Verse, which explains in this scene.
Who are you?
I'm the CEO of Alchemax. The real question is, who are you, old friend?
Old friend. So this is where you make the big reveal and I say, holy cow, Norman Osborn, or the Kingpin, Jonah Jameson. Come on, please be Jameson.
All of them long dead, I fear. Too bad they didn't have access to the anti-aging drug we developed. Does wonders for you. And I do mean you.
No, it can't be.
Can't be, yes. Why do people always say that? Good thing your future counterpart saved us, eh? Otherwise, we couldn't be this.
I become the evil mastermind?
Oh, don't be melodramatic. With great power comes great responsibility and great opportunity. And the only way to live up to all that responsibility is to use every opportunity to get all the power. I learned that the day I lost everyone I loved and didn't have the power to stop it.
What do you mean, everyone?
You'll find out. Except once I've fixed reality, you actually won't find out. Consider yourself lucky.
Peter, it's up and running, but it's not tremendously stable. Where are you?
I think I'm in hell. The CEO, it's me.
What? That's insane. How can that be? Holy shock! Peter, now! Move!
Let me explain it all to you.
Explain it to my rapidly retreating backside.
Peter Parker is evil CDO, and oh yeah, he's going God. Don't get me wrong, basically the comics never gave Peter Parker a break. Like, if I can list of things that Peter Parker is guilty for, which includes a majority of deaths, it will be the size of Canada. Grief is a very aggressive emotion, but we learn from it. We tend to move on, we push forward. But if we let that grief eat us from the inside and become this parasite, we become monsters. And basically, this is what happened to this Peter Parker. He basically becoming someone who thinks that the multiverse is nothing more than a sandbox.
Right now, they're supercharged with quantum particles. If we can reverse the polarity of the gateway and shove it back through, the quantum feedback could reverse the time storm.
Why reverse it, Miguel, when we can use it?
You know who I...
Of course. He knows, so I know. Miguel, you're on the wrong side of this. I'm not the villain here. I'm the guy who's trying to make everything right. Don't you get it?
Apparently I don't.
When the storm is fully unleashed, I'm going to harness the quantum energy. It will give me complete control over the time stream.
What, are you trying to play God?
The first creation of the universe wasn't bad. For a first draft, I'm just going to provide a much-needed rewrite. I can make up for my original sin by saving Uncle Ben. Not to mention Gwen Stacy, her dad, countless others. What kind of villain fixes it so that everyone gets to live happily ever after?
You're talking about power no human should have. You'll end up destroying yourself, but not before you've annihilated everything else.
Well then, I guess we'll just have to agree to disagree. This discussion is over.
It's over when I say it's over!
Saving Mary Jane and saving Officer Davis is one thing, but saving several people over and over and over and over again to the point where basically the fabric of reality starts to splinter. Yeah, we basically have a collateral inversion and the multiverse will collapse on itself. Okay, basically Spider-Verse talks over. The more about this story is that I do love that Peter's costume is getting more ripped, like it's going through wood chippers. Like, this is the type of battle damage I want to see more of. And Miguel's, well, he doesn't get that much battle damage. In fact, he doesn't even have any battle damage in R due to the fact his suit is made of unstable molecules. But the best part about the game is the final bosses, with these epic cinematic bosses between future Peter Parker, the CEO, and this atrocity, which is the combination of Sloane, Anti-Venom, and Doc Ock. It's so cinematic to have this epic boss fight as you're literally in the end of the world. Like, wow, that is crazy. And of course the game ends and we do have a 5-hour lecture from Miguel about temporal paradoxes.
Well, actually the first major theoretical studies were done by Reed Richards, which, since you know personally, is rather ironic.
Yeah, that's not really ironic. That's just coincidental. Irony is something completely different.
You're correcting my word use now? Is that what it's come to?
No harm in being accurate.
Okay, fine. Coincidentally, Reed Richards did the first studies, which hypothesized that time is like a vortex. And when major changes occur in the surrounding vortex, anyone who is dead center of the disruption can observe them without being affected, like being in the eye of a storm.
The real question is, why do I like this game more than I like Across the Spider-Verse? Sure, it's nowhere greater than Shattered Dimensions, but I like this game more than Across the Spider-Verse. Obviously, it's written by Peter David, so yeah, I'm gonna treat it like it's possibly a better Spider-Man 2099 movie, but I think that's the point. Miguel's obviously a hard-ass, and believe me, he was only Spider-Man for, God, I don't know how many months, but basically as long as Spider-Man India. But in this game, he actually understands what Miles is trying to tell him. Every single person needs to be saved. It's not about the big picture, it's about everyone. And Miguel learns this. Sure, the game isn't perfect, but at least it's beautifully written. And you know what? If I had the time and money, I would actually want to create a reanimated collab of this entire game. Sure, basically TV series and games are a different type of medium, but because this game understands both Peter Parker and Miguel O'Hara like treasures at the edge of time. And as always, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content.